Welcome everybody to another edition of the Slam Nation on the New York Nerd Show Network. All that Pat in the house and Lord Cash in his house.
Here I am.
Oh man, what a wonderful week, Lord Cash. How was your week?
It was about 7 days worth.
Sometimes I feel like 8 days worth. That's for sure.
Yep.
All crammed into one. We got a lot of good feedback on our last episode.
Well, that's good. Good. Hopefully, there was good feedback. And definitely take those pointers and keep them rolling.
Yeah, the only place you can go from now is down. Oh wait, no, that's not what I meant to say.
Well, I don't like those. I don't like those odds.
Well, that means we can only overcome them. You know, if we set the bar low, we won't trip on it.
There you go.
So again, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Slam Nation. Your number one host for Lord Cash and all that, Pat. Goodness.
Woohoo!
Woo! So this week we're going to go ahead and take a look at the original WWE TLC pay-per-view all the way back 11 years ago in 2009. That's kind of a little hype because of our upcoming pay-per-view next Sunday. They're actually doing the most recent iteration of that pay-per-view. Are you looking forward to that show?
I am. I'm always been a fan of, especially ladder matches. And when you throw in tables and chairs as well, it's just, a nice recipe for good chaos. So definitely, I really do enjoy a good TLC match.
Yeah, definitely. There's certainly a lot of chance for injury at those pay-per-views, and that's not what we look for, but it's definitely the chaos that ensues.
Yeah, there's with watching the one from 2009. I know there was a couple of injuries, or at least some wounds that took place. So,
it definitely seemed that. We'll talk about that a little bit later in our show. Well, about 5 minutes, really. And then in the second half of our show, at 7:30 approximately, we'll start taking a look at the upcoming week of professional wrestling, while also touching a little bit on what happened last week, particularly on SmackDown, as we go forward into the future. So, Bryant, Lord Cash, are you ready to hop in your time machine and take us back to the year 2009?
Let's get this puppy up to 88 miles per hour.
Ow! Let's do it.
So, back in 2009, we had tables, ladders, and chairs. Now, do you know where this emanated from?
I do. It was San Antonio, Texas, actually.
That is correct. San Antonio, home of a lot of our, at least Texas, that is, a lot of wrestlers that come through the WWE. So lots of fireworks going off. You can kind of see all of the stuff that's in the background, tables hanging from the ceiling, ladders and chairs. This would be one of those cases when you say, oh my.
I can't believe it that background though, like you're saying, Lord Cash. Like I would not want to be the one in charge of like hanging those precariously above the stage.
The way they're just like at that perfect angle. I'm just wondering like what type of wiring did they use? How did they actually fasten them? That's definitely some work going into getting everything all set up.
Or Jedis. So, it could be a lot of Jedis.
A little force in there. So I know last week when we were covering our match from 2003, there was a separate commentary for SmackDown as well as for Raw. But it looks like they kind of just merged them all together into one broadcast. So you've got Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole, and Matt Striker, who are your commentators for this match. I believe Striker was more of your SmackDown, Lawler was more of your Raw, and Michael Cole was just in the middle.
Yeah, I believe actually at the time Matt Striker was representing the ECW brand on Tuesday nights because at the time they had an additional brand. So, but Striker was on SmackDown. Like basically, these three just kind of did do-si-do for a lot of their careers. So, Striker though was definitely there, and he had a really interesting way of commentary. I appreciated it, but he got called to the table a couple times later in the night when like he was just trying to make excuses and make up junk that didn't make sense. Because in the Sheamus match, he makes a comment about drinking milk. It was just blowing you. But I have notes about it for later. But yeah, anyway, this show got off to a kick,
Yeah.
I believe the first match was for the ECW title.
That is correct. It was, speaking of the ECW brand, it was for the ECW championship. And it was a ladder match. So right off the bat, the belt was hung from the rafters. And so who is going to be in this match, you ask? Well, that would be Shelton Benjamin as the gold standard. So this is one of those things where last week we talked about him being part of Team Angle, and now he's the gold standard. 7 years later, he's still there. And, of course, he's going up against the ECW champion, Christian. That's right, all his peeps out there looking for him. So this was, like I said, as a ladder match. Now, one thing I do want to point out, because, again, from a technical aspect of it, you may want to bring up that screen one more time, because I'm going to use it as a reference. Last week, we did the video, and, of course, the aspect ratio was your 4:3, so you had the little black bars on the sides of it. And now, if you look in the top left-hand corner, it's WWHD. But if you notice, if if you were to cut off those black bars, everything is within that, and which your HD is now in your 16.9. So little geeky aspect ratio. Just I saw that, I'm like, oh, I remember that.
That's why we love you, Lord Cash, for all those little technical and little things.
So, but back to the match. Both Shelton and Christian were trying to one up each other, get that belt from the ceiling. At one point, Christian leaps from the turnbuckle off to the side there, and Shelton Benjamin is laying on a ladder there and just gets crushed. So prior to this, Christian gets hit in the face with a ladder, and that's what busts him open.
Oh yeah.
So Christian was victorious in this match.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first times that they actually ever had to stop a match right in the middle of it just to attend to a blood. And I can remember back at the time, a lot of people were complaining about that, and it's like the guy was hurt. Just let it happen,
Well, you got to take care of you. You got to take care of your people. And if it was truly a something that can be patched up right then and let the match go, great. If not, if it's something more serious, get them out of there. Just do what you have to do. But Christian did, in fact, win the belt. And so he is now your still reigning ECW champion. So that's.
Yeah, that was a good match. Like you're saying, and he was representing that brand pretty well. I got to say, there was one moment in this match. I don't know if you picked up on it, but Shelton Benjamin had a heck of a clothesline, with the ladder, tipping over on him. It was just, I don't know, there was a lot of, good spots, and Shelton Benjamin and Christian were kind of innovators of that match. All the way through this. So yeah, what a great shot right there.
So I do have I don't have the actual written down here, a slide for it, but do you know who had been in more ladder matches at this time in their career? Either Shelton or Christian?
I would actually, I don't know. Obviously, if you count tag team, I think Christian's has a shot, but I think Shelton Benjamin was in the first 6 Money in the Banks alone.
But again, we're talking 2009.
Yeah. I'll go with Christian.
So Christian at this point has been in 7 ladder matches, and Shelton Benjamin was in 4.
Wow.
I've been in 4. So definitely Christian is more of your innovator of the ladder matches. So being part of that big one with the Hardy Brothers, the Dudley Boys, and of course Edge and Christian for the tag titles way back. So definitely that they're bringing their A game on this one.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of experience in it, and this show with the name in there is Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, obviously. Now the next match, I've got to say, this was proof. If the last match wasn't, but this is proof that people don't age when they're in the WWE. Because John Morrison was here, and he looked exactly like he did last week on Raw. Exactly.
Yeah, so for the Intercontinental title, you had Drew McIntyre, which, come on, look at that baby face. So that's, I'm looking at some watches, I'm like, okay, you can see the 11 years there. However, you look at John Morrison, and I think he does own a time machine. Yeah. And he just jumps around to periods of times and just tries to right the wrong or something, I don't know.
That's why he's in slow motion during his entrance, Lord Cash.
That is probably true. He's got to wait for himself to catch up to him.
Exactly.
So this was a really cool match. Drew McIntyre was really new to the WWE at this time. I think he'll have been there for just a few months.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, he was labeled as the next big thing by Vince McMahon. So he kind of had that pressure resting on his shoulder there. But he's definitely John Morrison came out and was like, I don't care. I'm gonna just give you, all the business and little DDT that he's got going on for him. Doing the drop kicks off of the turnbuckles.
So athletic. And again, even now, like 11 years later, like I couldn't do this 11 years ago.
No, this is ridiculous. And then of course, Drew McIntyre with I think they call this an inverted Bama Slammer or something like that.
Yeah, Alabama slam backwards, basically. Yeah.
But just knocks him right on his face. Great. But John Morrison tried to do the Starship Pain, hits it with it. But unfortunately, Drew McIntyre is able to get his finisher, cover for the 1, 2, 3, and become the new Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, first title for Drew McIntyre in the WWE, and it was funny because I barely remembered this match, honestly. Like I remember the Chosen One gimmick with him and Vince McMahon, like him, putting a stamp of approval on him. But I really didn't remember a whole lot about the, basically like he won the belt, but he did a little eye gouge. Like he didn't win it clean. They protected him a little bit. And I don't know about you, but what are your thoughts on that Starship Pain move?
It's pretty, but I don't know. I think it's very effective. If you want to, get down to the actual mechanics of that move, it's just like, kind of doing a pretty frog splash of some sort that you don't get a lot of height to it.
Right. And he grazes you with the back of his head if he's lucky,
Yeah. It looks pretty, but let's face it, it's really not doing much of anything.
No, not really. I do want to point out, everybody, thank you for joining us, obviously, but this week we are going to be giving away a special promo. It is a Roman Reigns Big Dog, or the Tribal Chief. If you make us the head of your table, like, subscribe, you'll get notifications either on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, whatever you're watching on. You're going to get a chance to be given a beautiful 8x10 color photo, or we can give you one of the one and only me. No, either way, we hope to have you guys subscribe. But again, thank you so much for being here tonight. We're going to continue now. We're covering TLC 2009, the granddaddy of them all, and we're going to take a look at the Women's Championship match.
Yeah, so from what we covered last week where we had, the bikini contest, definitely the Women's Championship has come a long way in those 7 years. You had Mickie James coming out as the contender, and then you had Michelle McCool, who was your women's champion, with Layla as kind of her little entourage there. And of course, Layla's wearing the Mickie James shirt.
What a terrible thing.
We're definitely making fun of Mickie James' appearance and weight. And at one point during one of the promos, you actually see Mickie James crying. And it's just like kind of seeing where, again, that evolution of where we kind of were with the women's division to where we kind of are now. We still do a little bit of stuff there, but I don't think we go that far to being that mean. But they were in the match there. Michelle McCool, excellent wrestler. I do find that amusing that, as you said, Stryker was kind of making certain comments that, a definite Hall of Fame, the fact that she's had the Divas title 4 times and the women once. And it's like a definite Hall of Fame, like dude, she's only been there for like 5 years.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, Cole was definitely ragging on him. and I got to say that the arena in this match, there was the gravity meter must have been set really high, because those fans, they weren't getting up out of their seat for anything in this match.
Yeah.
It was awful. The match itself was okay, I guess, but I don't think they were buying into this gimmick. I mean, they're saying that Mickie James was fat. No. Yeah. That's like saying I'm muscly. No, it didn't make any sense at all.
So towards the end of the match, Michelle accidentally kicks Layla in the face. However, she's able to turn around and then kick Mickie James in the face with a nice big boot and covers her for the 1, 2, 3. And she is able to retain her title as women champion. Yeah,
I mean, overall, like I said, the match was fine, but I think that the storyline just killed the crowd, personally.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be rooting for Michelle. You want to be on Mickey's corner. So it's just one of those things where, unfortunately, that's what the gimmick that they were doing, the storyline. So, but yeah.
So I think we have a little trivia question now, Lord Cash.
Yeah, we have a little something here where it's the where are they now? So now I told you in our pre-production meeting that this is not who you think it is. So after the match we just saw, I ask you, where are they now? No, I am not talking about Mickey James. I am talking about Blue Shirt Guy, who was like literally at every single pay-per-view during that time frame.
As soon as you had told me that I was going to be surprised, and I saw a picture of him pointing, where is he now, Lord Cash?
Well, he's at home recovering from, not being able to go out into pay-per-view matches anymore. But like seriously, like no matter you turn on any pay-per-view during this time frame, and somewhere during the match, you are going to see Blue Shirt Guy.
Absolutely. He was on, was it The Apprentice? He actually was on some random game show back in the day, and I don't remember what it was.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, like I say, I don't have the answer. I just wanted to point him out that as I was watching, I'm like, I remember
him. If you have the answer, or if you are Blue Shirt Guy, put it in the chat. We will give you a free Roman Reigns 8x10 photo.
Proof of identity is required.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see a picture of you with the hat.
So our next match that we have is the WWE Championship match. We have Sheamus, who
oh my God, this was
also new to the company at the time, and kind of the little interaction they had with Drew McIntyre, who had just won the Intercontinental title, basically saying, you're new, I'm going to take the title as well. Kind of just trying to one up each other, that little friendship that they had back then.
I love the fact, Lord Cash, that this is what we're seeing now on Raw. And it's crazy to think of how far these guys have come. And spoiler, by the end of the night, after this next match, one of them took a big step forward.
So yeah, I that's why the reason why I snagged this photo. I'm like, that's what we're dealing with right now. So, but Sheamus came out to the ring, and of course, not Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena. This is now complete face, almost Super Cena at this moment.
And Superman.
That's right.
And Superman.
The never give up, hustle, loyalty, respect comes out. And their match was really good. Unfortunately, John Cena, this was a tables match, and John Cena kind of just took a tumble the wrong way and ended up in the table, and therefore Sheamus was announced as your new WWE champion. What was your thought on the conclusion of this match?
So I really liked the match. I remember back in the day, they were really pushing Sheamus hard. He had retired Jamie Noble, and he became number one contender in like 2 months. I liked it. Sheamus did not look like a rookie at all, and I liked the finish, although I didn't like how they called it. Cena set him up on the top rope, and he was like shaking, like to show that he was like worn out and unbalanced, and then Sheamus just pushed him through. The commentators kept pushing the fact that like Cena put himself through the table and not giving the true rub to Sheamus.
Right.
But yeah, this guy becomes world champion after 2 months in the company, maybe 6 counting ECW.
Yeah.
But I liked it. Like I said, it seemed like a very well done match. There were no blown spots that I saw. And Sheamus is like a canvas for pain. Like anything that he gets hit with, like a flick of your wrist, flick of a knuckle, he's going to be bleeding and like showing bruises just because of his complexion. That made this match, look even more brutal. I liked it though. Lord Cash, I assume you do, or maybe not.
It's one of those things where Sheamus of 2009 is, I don't know if this is a slam to him, but he's just as impressive back then as he is right now. I don't know if that's just there has been a lot of growth, but he was just that amazing back then, that he had the skill and the talent back then to go toe to toe with John Cena. And whether or not Cena was elevating him up and doing a lot of the work, the heavy lifting, as they say, he held his own. So that definitely, as you said, he did not look like a rookie.
No, not at all. And I thought it was interesting too. Like for what it's worth, a lot of his moves were like renamed at the time, but like he doesn't do the Razor's Edge anymore, the Celtic Cross Slam.
Right.
But like I want to say he wasn't doing the Brogue Kick all that much. They showed it in the preview for the match, but he wasn't hitting it super clean. But yeah, he had so many moves at an early age in the career at WWE. But yeah, they put him over. It was a great match. I really enjoyed it.
So our next match was for the heavyweight championship. We had Batista going up against the man, the myth, the legend, the Undertaker, who we just celebrated the 30 years of Survivor Series with him. So it's kind of nice seeing that match when he was more in his prime than what we've seen him in the last couple years. So actually, as World Heavyweight Champion, of course, him coming to his ring is always a production. You always can go to the bathroom if you need to when he's coming out because you've got plenty of time. But once he gets in the ring and going for that title belt, they just start going at it. At the time, I believe this was before the move, the Devil's Triangle, got outlawed.
Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah.
So he was able to put Batista in the Devil's Triangle, but Batista was able to at least grab the rope to stay in the game, and everything was going on. This was a chairs match.
Yeah.
So chairs were legal, and so Batista hits Undertaker with the chair and pins him for 1, 2, 3, and is the new champion.
Holla, 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 my player. Don't forget what happened.
Or is it? So Teddy Long comes out to the ring. He little holla, holla, and goes, basically, this is what happened that the ref did not see. Batista,
prostate check.
Exactly. Gets a little low blow there on the Undertaker while the ref has got his back turned. So by doing so, restarts the match. Little tit for tat for going on. Undertaker gets Batista in the tombstone and is able to cover him for the 1, 2, 3, and Undertaker retains his title.
Always a cool scene. Like Undertaker, like, can you imagine if they gave like the pyro treatment that Undertaker always get with the lightning, the fire, and all that, and they gave it to like Santino Marella or like just some like lower guy, and it's just like Santino comes out doing the Cobra Shuffle, and it's like boom, fireworks everywhere, lightning strikes.
They need to give Bayley's old wavy thingies, put little cobras on them, and just have Santino come out and it's like, woo Cobra, woo Cobra.
No, what about? I thought you were going with this. What about if they gave the little wavy guys to Undertaker?
Maybe. But they would have to be more like Ghost. They'd have to be Ghost and like Lost Soul. They're going,
oh my god.
Woo, woo. But yeah.
So anybody that does like those creative wrestlers in this WWE 2K games, make it happen. Undertaker, Bayley's entrance.
We've just given you an idea.
Absolutely. And we do want to continue to say thank you for joining us tonight as we are going through on the Slam Nation through WWE TLC 2009. A nice throwback to what's coming up this upcoming Sunday. Lord Cash, AllThatPat. And we're giving away this beautiful 8x10 Roman Reigns glossy photo. All you have to do is like, subscribe, any of those things on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or just knock on our door. You can figure out where we live, just knock on our house. I feel like I'm on QVC. I don't know. I feel like I'm on QVC right now.
But wait, there's more.
Yes.
So I'm not sure that was like an Aladdin, coffee hookah maker. But anyways, so our next match was Kofi Kingston. If you kind of see the vehicle they sent out, if you remember the Randy Orton RKO NASCAR.
I was there. That was actually in Buffalo, New York. I was there for this.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a little kind of this is what little kind of happened up to the bad blood that is between these two. So basically, Kofi Kingston is standing up for himself, and so by doing so, is standing on the Randy Orton NASCAR. Ends up taking a crowbar and just smashing the window. But of course, he messed it up, so you got to give it a paint job. So of course, he just pours orange paint all over it.
A funny thing that happened in the arena, this is why I bring that up, is I don't know if it was on TV or not, but Kofi, he slips on the paint and he takes a tumble right off the car.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's what led up to it. And of course, back in that time frame, Randy Orton was part of Legacy. So you had
Yeah, Ted DiBiase
there
Jr.
we
and
go.
Cody Rhodes. I think that Cody Rhodes might be up to something these days. I don't know. He's up to something, I believe.
He might be. So they were part of in his corner. However, surprisingly enough, Randy Orton came out by himself. Did not have any of Legacy coming out with him. So I thought that was kind of cool and interesting. But Kofi came out to the ring. He's just bouncing all the way down. As he's bouncing, his pants are slowly getting further and further off his behind.
Lord Cash, come on.
Hey, I noticed things. But Kofi Kingston is definitely one of those athletes that just gets out there and performs and is a high flyer. This shot right here, and it's blurry, but because it's in motion. But Kofi Kingston was on the top turnbuckle and just kind of jumps off to kind of do like a cross body. But Randy Orton just jumps up and kicks him in the chest. Absolutely fantastic. Randy Orton, definitely a Hall of Famer up there. As soon as he decides to retire, he's going to be, able to get the Hall of Fame, no problems.
Oh, absolutely. I think both of them have pretty good careers for that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Back in the day, Kofi was doing the boom, 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 and goes in and gives a little Trouble in Paradise, nice kick. But of course, Randy Orton's smart enough; he holds on to the rope to keep the match alive. This is one of those times where I think I am allowed to say vintage Orton.
Yeah.
The fact that this is 11 years ago, him doing this, but takes him up onto the second rope and does the DDT onto him. And then, of course, back he was doing the whole punching of the head. However, when this happened, Kofi was able to get the arm up and blocked it. However, I just love the face of Randy Orton because you just see the twistedness, the dementedness, those voices
so well. Yeah,
those voices in his head. He is truly there. And just once someone stands up and he gets ready for it, he definitely delivers the RKO, those three most fearsome letters in the English alphabet, and just able to pin him up for 1, 2, 3, and is victorious at the end of the night.
Yeah, great match, and both of these guys are still at the top of their game in the current roster. I mean, both of them had the titles just this year alone.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that Kofi just recently lost the title.
Yeah, about a year ago now, and Orton literally just had it 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah, but fantastic performers. This is probably one of my favorite matches of the night, if I have to say. Maybe a strong, just barely a second, and that's going to kind of lead into our last match of the evening, and that was for the Unified Tag Team Championship belts. They had done away with the SmackDown and the Raw. They had unified them a while back, and so of course I'm a big fan of them. I'm sure you are, but of course the belts were hanging from. Was this a TLC match or just a ladder match? I think this was a TLC match.
Yeah, this was the only TLC match of the night. All the other matches had parts of it. Right. But yeah, this was the official. All three can go. I didn't expect much out of this match. I mean, there's a lot of Hall of Famers. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. DX was really pushed hard, but this match came out and it's very even, and it had. We'll get to it, but it had one heck of a finish.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of DX. This was their kind of their second run as it. So I was not part of the Monday Night Wars back in the late 90s, watching it back then. I kind of came on in the early 2000s when Ric Flair was dubbed as co-owner of the WWE way back then.
Yep.
And so when they're coming out, they're definitely seasoned, and they're just out there just chucking the little light sticks out to the crowd, just having fun. It is just absolutely wonderful. Just them having fun. This is probably something that they didn't need to be doing, but why not?
Of course.
And of course, you had the current tag team champions, Chris Jericho and Big Show, or as they're dubbed, the Jericho.
Come on. Like, should we be like All That Cash? Is that what we should make our tag team name?
We should be.
Yes. TM trademark.
So they came out, and again, the tag belts are hanging from the ceiling. This was kind of a tornado tag, so there was no tagging in and out. It was just a free for all. Just hit them up and get them done. And so this is probably one of the cool thing. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. Basically, taking the ladder and just slamming it like that on someone's back. So poor Chris Jericho, he definitely took a beating in this one a little bit.
I'm surprised the ladder didn't reverse that move.
So of course, Big Show trying to go up there, but Triple H was stopped him. What I don't have pictures of, and I found this highly amusing, is I believe right about this time they tried to like knock it over, and so Shawn Michaels comes in and is standing where Big Show is, and Age is on the other side, on the one that there's no one there, and they try to push it over, and you just see Shawn Michaels pull Triple H over to Big Show's side and be like, dude, you got to push this guy over.
You're right. Yeah, they had a definitely a knack for comedy in their matches. I mean,
well, and I'm sure it wasn't like meant to be that way. It's just I noticed it that I was like, okay, Triple H is probably a little bit more stronger than Shawn Michaels. If you just look at the physique themselves, he's going to be a little bit stronger.
Right.
But they just, Shawn Michaels, basically the innovator of the ladder match, getting tossed off by Jericho. Big Show catches him. And then there was this thing which kind of alludes to what's basically going to happen in the finale match.
Yeah.
But Big Show just rips the ladder, apart on its hinges. And so of course now there's no more tall enough ladders. So what does Jericho do? I'm just gonna get on the Big Show's shoulder and let me just carry you over like you're a 4-year-old. However, Shawn Michaels and Triple H get in the ring and go, "What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?"
When I first saw this, Lord Cash, sorry to interrupt, but I thought I just I caught it quick. I thought Triple H super kicked him with Shawn Michaels, and I'm like, what?
So basically, they're like not having it. Shawn Michaels comes over and super kicks Big Show. What you don't see is Jericho flying out of the ring. There's a table. You kind of see the corner of it right behind that cameraman in the bottom left, and he kind of bangs up himself onto that. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh crap, Jericho just got really hurt. But after I saw the replay, I'm like, okay, Jericho did what he was supposed to do, and he kind of covered himself. But
yeah,
again, no more ladders. So Triple H holds up half of the ladder, and Shawn Michaels climbs up and is able to pull the belts off of the little ring, and they are your new unified WWE Tag Team Champions, D-Generation X.
Now, Lord Cash, I don't know for sure because I don't think I've actually ever held a ladder that way for somebody, but I can't imagine that is exactly easy to do.
Probably not, but if you were to give yourself a 1 to 10, how difficult would this be? You probably rank it like a 7 or an 8. But then once someone actually does it, I'm sure if you've got your feet, planted right, I'm sure it's probably like maybe a 5 or a 6.
Well, and if you look at Triple H, it's probably a -2.
And again, being that he's the more stronger of the two, which is again alluding to why Shawn Michaels is the one climbing up and Triple H is the one holding it. Again, it also depends on who's on the ladder. If Triple H is trying to hold it for the Big Show, that's going to, add some extra digits onto the factoration there.
Right.
So,
I think this was around that time, too. I think that Hornswoggle joined them as well, so that might have been even easier.
There you go. Just pop them up, catapult them up into the catch onto the title belts.
So, Lord Cash, if you had to give TLC 2009 a grade out of 10, what would you give it?
I probably would give it maybe on a 7, maybe an 8. Definitely the matches in there were really good. Some of the storyline, I'm more of a storyline guy, so I kind of need to find out what did they do beforehand to get to the matches. So those little recaps that they do with the pay-per-views, I definitely pay attention to those a lot more than I probably should. Right. But again, once I have that storyline, then I at least can get my mindset into where they are at the time. So yeah, the ECW title, IC, the various big title champions. I say maybe a 7.5, 8.
Yeah, what's funny is like your exact comment, right? It kind of goes what I was thinking. Like I was thinking 6 or 7, but for the exact reason. Last week's show, when we look back at Judgment Day 2003, there was a lot of like storyline even during the show, whether it be like the whole Bischoff and Sheriff Austin, co-managing it. Even for as bad as it necessarily was in hindsight, the women's bikini match at least gave me a break. Whereas this didn't have much of that. And I actually already selected what our throwback show of next week is going to be. Are you ready?
Uh-oh. Okay.
You have never seen this before, but I really think that you're going to like it. WWF SummerSlam 1991 from Madison Square Garden. All I'm going to tell you is that it is worth it for the jailhouse match between the Big Bossman and the Mountie. I think that you will crack up. Not to set the bar too high, but that show definitely had backstage storyline going on throughout the entire day.
So I had a show suggestion as well.
Oh boy!
So I've got it at the end of the night. Well, I'll kind of go into that and we'll see what that one is.
We might have to fight, but that's okay.
Maybe we can do it like 2 weeks from now.
And that's totally fine. It's one of those things where they aren't getting any younger, these matches.
True.
So yeah, whatever one that we'll take a look at it, right? I mean, we could totally do the one at their session as well. I was just thinking about it where it was like, all I could think of was what was the biggest show that I remember that had a storyline throughout it. That was it. Like
wow.
It's if nothing else, no matter what, watch the jailhouse match.
Okay.
Just do yourself a favor. It is so ridiculous.
There you go.
All right. So up next, we have to look at the current day product, Lord Cash.
That's right. So tonight on Raw, which is going to happen in about 20 or so minutes, looks like Randy Orton has invited himself to the Firefly Funhouse. Last week, he was invited to a moment with Bliss. And, of course, they had their little moment together where, Orton felt like he was pulling the strings, but Alexa Bliss was I'm doing the height properly there, right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, when they had the wide shot of them, I was like, wow, she is super short or he is really tall.
Can you imagine if she was next to Omos?
Yeah, my goodness. Well, I'm sure, back in the day when they were doing the tag matches with Braun Strowman.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, they each felt that they were pulling the strings. And eventually, the Fiend came out, but Randy Orton had Alexa up in arms, and basically Bray's like, give me back Alexa. And so he gives it to the Fiend, and he runs out of there and basically is, I got you. I've got you right where I want you. I'm in your head. So we'll see what happens with that. And like I said, just the Fiend is there, kind of just figure out what's next.
So I think this will be pretty interesting, that they keep going, Lord Cash, with the whole idea. They did tie into their past. And again, Orton was very clear about, I know your secret. So I'll be curious to see how that develops tonight on the Firefly Funhouse.
Yep. So another match is supposed to be tonight is going to be Bobby Lashley, the U.S. champion, up against Jeff Hardy. Now, I'm trying to figure out exactly how this match came to be, because I know last week Jeff Hardy had the orchestra match, the Symphony of Destruction.
Yep.
Against Elias. And so there was all sorts of violins and guitars, R-Truth hiding in a piano.
That was the best.
So, and just Drew Gulak out there trying to get the 24/7 champ and just gets flung out of the way. I thought that was nice. Using guitar picks as, kind of,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just all sorts of stuff. Gets shocked with a guitar. Gets electrocuted, which I'm trying to figure out exactly how a wooden object into an electrical item causes him to get electrocuted. But I'm willing to be, have that suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, I feel like WWE would be muting you right now if they had the opportunity because they don't want anybody to say, yeah, what logic is.
I know. It's one of my downfalls. But basically, Jeff Hardy takes a big.
It's the Braun Strowman cello.
There you go, the cello, and hits him over it. And
Oh.
this, oh my gosh, we're both having the same reaction. Basically, on top of the turnbuckle, does the swanton and hits him on the chair on the table, but the bottom of his head hits the bottom rung of the stairs, and I'm just like, how are you not busted open?
Why would you even do it that way? Like that is, we're not wrestlers, but for crying out loud, like why would you take that risk like that? It was bananas.
I realize Jeff Hardy is one of those people that pushes the envelope way far beyond. Like he sees the line and just like doubles the limit of it, and it's just insane. So, but yeah, Jeff Hardy did win the Symphony of Destruction. So I don't believe it's his match that Elias has ever won the Symphony of Destruction match.
Yeah, I don't believe so either. But I mean, like you were saying though earlier, maybe it was just kind of like sympathy or a sympathy match tonight, you know, because he almost like knocked himself silly. But
yeah,
I wish that because he's gonna win. Let's just put it like this: it's a non-title. He's gonna probably win, and then go to a future shot against Lashley at the pay-per-view. Just don't even worry about it. Then just it's give him the title shot at the pay-per-view. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you said, that is gonna be a non-title match with Jeff Hardy and Bobby Lashley. Part of the Hurt Business.
Yeah. So now on to Retribution. So
do we have to?
Well, they fought last night. I think that something as far as storyline is going to come out of it. So both Slapjack, the gentleman, had a match against Ricochet, and then Reckoning had a women's match. We'll talk about that one in just a moment. But basically, Ricochet came on out.
Look at that face. He's like lovingly looking at them like it's his, his own son or I don't know. Just like
right. What are your thoughts of him as the leader? Like, is this believable?
It's only believable because this is a guy that hasn't been on TV for a long time, whereas he had quite the following. They were doing a good job when he was being built. He beat Daniel Bryan, I think AJ as well, and then all of a sudden just like, nope, you're gone. So I could see that as a storyline where like you could be like upset, right? You're kind of like, you wasted my potential. They reveal him being the hacker trying to screw around with things. So I'm okay with it. The group, I don't get it. Like, they go and destroy their owner's property for like a month on end, and they go, oh, by the way, here's your contracts.
Right.
It's just,
and then they stop.
Yeah, they just stop. They're like, okay, cool, we're good. So yeah, I think it's kind of like odd, but at the same time, I don't mind him as the leader. I guess it's my long answer for a short question.
But Ricochet comes on out doing his high flying as always, and Dana Brooke comes out and slaps Ali in the face, basically trying to get the attention of Reckoning. So that's who she's going to fight later in the evening. Mace gets involved, and but unfortunately, Ricochet does fall to Slapjack, which that's a funny name. I love Slapjack.
Yeah, exactly. I think that if I had a daughter, I'd name her Slapjack. I will say too, like I'm anticipating that Ricochet is going to join the group ultimately, but maybe not. I get to see this being one of those groups where like the people that start like losing, get beat up by them, ultimately join them.
Right. So, but then we jump over to the ladies match. So Dana Brooke going up against Rob Reckoning. So you kind of see her. She started off with the mask, but then later it gets knocked off. So I don't know if that was if they're allowed to be without their masks. If that's whatever, but it does happen. And she's giving it to Dana Brooke, but unfortunately Dana Brooke is able to take the pin, and Mustafa's not very happy.
Come on, Dana Brooke beats nobody, so I'd be pretty upset if I lost to her. Fun little trivia question, Lord Cash. Do you happen to know who Reckoning? By the way, that's Mia Yim is her wrestling name outside of this. But do you know who she is dating at the moment?
I do not.
She is actually the girlfriend of Keith Lee.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, when
right.
she came out on Raw a couple, whatever it was, like a month or two ago, like it was the worst kept secret for people that watch NXT, only because like she has blue hair, she has the
Right.
same ring gear, and her boyfriend's on the show too. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not Mae Young coming back from the grave.
So that was what happened with Reckoning. The next we've got, you had Lana going up against, I think she had Asuka going up against the women's tag team champions, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. And so they just kind of went through, that's kind of some of the stuff that happened last week. And surprisingly enough, Lana got the win over Shayna. So I'm curious what they're going to do with her, and just kind of see, if she's actually going to get that title shot against Asuka. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still not convinced on this story, but
Yeah,
they've had the lovable loser story in the past, whether it be with Barry Horowitz, even the 1-2-3 Kid. Those are before your time, but it seems they've done it, right? So who knows? It might happen. It might work for her.
Yep. And then, of course, you've now got the Raw Tag Team Champions going up against part of the Hurt Business. You've got Alexander going in there, and I think he was he just going up against Xavier Woods?
Yeah, just a one-on-one.
Just a one-on-one.
Yeah, with Xavier to begin with.
So they had their match.
Love that move.
Both of them were amazing, except for Alexander did get the win there, and just kind of runs off. And when it happened, you kind of see MVP going, where's he going? What's going on?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There was that little bit of a odd celebratory split, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was even on accident. I don't know. I mean, we weren't there, but it was kind of odd to see that. Super excited. He's like, peace.
Yeah. So then one of the other big matches from last week was the triple threat to say who was going to be the number one contender for not Sheamus, Drew McIntyre's title.
Yeah,
his title.
Good match.
Oh, it was fantastic. You had Riddle, AJ, and Keith Lee, as we just mentioned. So they were going off, just people flying all over the place.
Look at that height.
I know. It's crazy. Riddle just diving off, getting caught and everything. But unfortunately for the other two, AJ Styles was your winner of the match.
I gotta say, a highlight from that, Lord Cash, was when they basically, there was a point when Almas literally picked up AJ and looped him up onto the on the ring apron and went right into a move. It was just like, I don't know, showing the power and the size. I thought it was really crazy. So tonight we're gonna have a really big moment, and it's gonna actually tie into that. We're gonna see Almas making his in-ring debut on Monday Night Raw.
Is he?
Yeah, it's a handicap match, basically. Oh, you know what? He's not. I was miscounting. What a disappointment. The handicap is AJ Styles. What in the... Oh, man, I'm out. I'm done.
So, yeah, you've got Sheamus and Drew McIntyre going up against John Morrison and The Miz, along with AJ Styles. So, and basically, kind of how this kind of evolved was you had Sheamus coming out onto the Miz TV, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but Sheamus...
He's from 1930?
Yeah, he kind of did his hair up. The mohawk is gone, so it was really, really cool there.
He looks like he's still off the set of Goodfellas or Newsies or something. But
exactly. I love this look. If he is like this brawler type look, I love it. I absolutely do love it. But of course, Miz just kind of hit him up with the briefcase for the
Money in the Bank. Yeah.
So that happened there. But then, of course, later on, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre went up against John Morrison and The Miz with AJ Styles. You kind of see him looking there in the back with Almost there. Definitely a great match. That just looks brutal. That's amazing. Giving him the 10 beats, the 10 count, and just getting flung all over the place. And the hope was that AJ wanted the Miz to cash in the title or his Money in the Bank, so that way, as the number one contender, he can go up against the Miz instead of Drew McIntyre. But of course, egos got involved, and it unfortunately did not happen as the way they wanted it to, because Drew McIntyre got back up and started just Claymore kicking everybody in sight. And unfortunately, that allowed almost to take AJ Styles up on the shoulder and get him out of the ring, so that way he does not get hurt.
I feel like I've had plenty of nights back when I was younger where it might not have been almost, but I feel like that somebody was carrying me home at different moments.
There you go. So, but that kind of wrapped up Raw for last week. So we'll definitely see how those three matches will play out tonight here in just a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely I look forward to it for sure. Now, just out of curiosity, like in your opinion, Lord Cash, it might be a ways away from this happening, but when the Miz actually cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase, are we going to see a successful cash in like he did back in 2010, I believe? Or are we going to have just a complete botch of a cash in like Baron Corbin?
If I were to put money on this, I would say we're going to get a successful cash in. The Miz, he's at that part of his career where he doesn't need it, but I feel like he deserves it.
Right. You were at the first cash in, weren't you?
I was. Yeah, it was actually I think it was like in November, because my now 18-year-old was it was his birthday present. Was going to the match that night, and so he actually cashed it in. And that's where that glorious shot of the little girl just like. I love that picture. I love that because I'm like, that is just fantastic.
Angry Miz girl.
Yep. So, but on that note, we do have some solemn news, and that was we did have the passing of Pat Patterson. So last week when SmackDown opened for broadcast, they did a tribute to Pat Patterson, who passed away. When I saw that this happened, I kind of jokingly mentioned, because last week we talked about, the Pat Patterson with the IC title and everything. Yep. I was like, okay, we have to be careful who we talk about this week because I don't want any more WWE deaths on my hands.
No, I know that was kind of a crazy coincidence, but I didn't even know that Pat Patterson was ill. I feel like you hear a lot about it with guys that are sick, but apparently he'd been battling cancer for some time.
Wow. Yeah. It's a shame, but unfortunately that was the case. You have everybody out there on is that Jerry Briscoe? That's Vince McMahon.
He's one of the Stooges. Those two were like a huge team back in the Attitude Era. Again, if you guys are looking for a match to watch the Stooges versus the Mean Street Posse on Monday Night Raw. Fantastic, silly, dumb match, but it's so good.
That's awesome. So, but that is how the match opened up. But after that, we kind of get into where Roman Reigns comes out to the ring and basically kind of gives.
Wait, Lord Cash, did you say Roman Reigns? Like, subscribe, ring that bell on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, and you could win this beautiful Roman Reigns 8x10 color photo. Deadline is Sunday.
So one of the announcers was kind of asking questions, and just Roman Reigns just wasn't having it. Was like, seriously, this is the question. I'm out here. These are the questions you're asking. Paul Heyman kind of just brushes her off a little bit, and Jey Uso kind of back there. And then, which I love this face, but
yeah,
like I think he smelt something.
That's a meme right there. That is definitely a meme.
And of course, Roman Reigns is not having any of it from Jey Uso. And finally, Kevin Owens does come out to confront Roman Reigns about stuff that happened last week on SmackDown, and basically calls him out. And Jey answers the call. Is like, you know what? You want a match? We'll have a match. And so basically, it's going to be Kevin Owens and Otis, the two people that Jey Uso kind of went crazy on last week, and basically going up against a tag match. So we'll see how that plays out later in the evening. And of course, Owens pretty much calls Roman Reigns a chicken in essence.
It's like
but
Back to the Future.
Exactly, but he's not having it. He stops, but he just doesn't let it bother him. So, and then that kind of leads into our women's match of the night. You have Bayley going up against Natalya. I'm not. This match was okay. I think they're still trying to figure out what they're doing with Bayley.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your thoughts are on this match were.
I didn't think it did much. It was surprising because you have Natalya. I mean, I like both of them, but Natty hadn't done much in honestly a long time. Really, she usually is booked to lose. At Survivor Series, she got in after 3 tries. Then you had Bayley, who was winning nonstop for a year and a half. This happens. They'll flip flop it to build others. I think it's just ultimately a placeholder until Bianca Belair, who he's showing right now, true future of the company. She's going to go through and she's probably going to beat Bayley in a big feud.
That's what I'm thinking. They kind of using this to springboard the storyline to get Bianca into it. So, but basically just kind of, I think, did Natalya win this one?
Yeah, no, she made her tap out with a sharpshooter, which again was surprising because again, Bayley was, like I said, almost undefeated for a year, and then she actually taps out. It's not even like the roll up of death. So that was kind of interesting, But again, they got to build up Bianca Belair, and I think they're just going to make it so she keeps distracting her until they get a match, basically.
Yeah, which I'm sure will happen pretty soon.
I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. So I know that as we are coming close to the time, we were talking about so much great stuff that's coming, for next, for this week, not even next anymore. We want to get some feedback. We talked a little bit earlier about 2 possible pay-per-views for the upcoming week. I brought WWF SummerSlam 91 to the table with a Mountie, but Lord Cash, what are you bringing to the table? Because you might just have to have a battle, duke it out, fight to the death, or we might just have to say, he who makes the slides gets the show.
Right. So basically, my question to you, what's next? I didn't know if you had anything. So this is a pay-per-view that, to my understanding, if knowledge serves me right, I know I have never watched this while it aired because I believe we were at this pay-per-view.
Okay. All right. Are you going? Yep. All right.
So I'm going the Armageddon that took place in Orlando, Florida, back in, and I wrote it down, and I've lost my notes.
2003.
I think it was 2003. Yep, there it is, Armageddon 2003. So the other one that I was going to suggest was Royal Rumble 2016, but again, I don't know how far back the statute of limitations is going for a classic pay-per-view.
So here's the decision. Are you ready?
Go for it.
We are going to have a week of Slam Nation every single day next week. We're going no.
I can't do that many. I can't make that many shows.
No, I think that I think it's interesting, right? Because we had a couple comments all the way through. Let's for timeliness, right? Let's do the Armageddon 2003 because realistically, I think it would be a 17-year anniversary next week, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could throw the SummerSlam just for no reason, you know what I mean? But in between, and then we could watch the Royal Rumble as you go into Royal Rumble season after the house.
Right. Well, basically, my thought was kind of I've got my hometown pay-per-view, and you can kind of have a hometown pay-per-view. So definitely, since you said that other one takes place up in New York, then by all means,
they don't know where we live. Shh. Wait, it is called New York Nerd Show. Yeah, okay.
It's kind of a big state.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's not like it's the Rhode Island Nerd Show.
Yes, exactly. I'll give my actual address. It's the this. No. So everybody, we want to obviously continue to say thanks because without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. Otherwise, we'd just be talking to ourselves, which we do. Lord Cash and I talk to ourselves on the phone all the time, but this gives us an audience.
There you go.
So, one of the things that we're doing right now, as we showed throughout the show, is that we are giving away a Roman Reigns 8x10. It's a full color. It actually is a real one. It's a nice one. It'll be on a little card back. All you have to do is like, subscribe, ring the bell, get notifications. We are shown on Twitch. We are shown on YouTube Live. We're shown on Facebook. You can take a look at any of those accounts. We have our deadline of Sunday, and we'll mail out your first prize. We'll be doing things like this each week, hopefully. So, again, we are very thankful to have you guys on here. Again, we have a lot of different shows, whether it be the Royal Rumble for Riches show. It's tomorrow at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We take a look at either WWE 2K18 with a themed battle royal, or we look at WWE 2K Battlegrounds when there's ever a good update. We also do different shows throughout the week. Like, again, we, Bitter Ritz and myself, we eat dinner. As weird as that sounds, we do like recipe reviews and reviews of different services. Like we started Every Plate. We've done Blue Apron. We've done HelloFresh. It's pretty interesting to kind of look at those things. We also do blind bag reviews where we open a blind bag or a blind box and kind of see what's in it. And we also do Call the Wild. We show our pickups that we've got in. We do crazy card collections. We have a lot of random stuff. And if you do subscribe to our channels to get those notifications, you'll be able to not only see the scheduled shows, but also see the shows that are kind of like, want to do a show? Sure. And we just enter the game room and do a broadcast. But Lord Cash, always want to say thank you. Do you have any final parting words for our audience?
So yeah, not really much of anything else. I do wanted to congratulate Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. They was announced today that Becky Lynch did give birth to a healthy baby. I believe the name is Rue, Roux.
Huh.
So kind of, I'm sure it's a very Irish theme to it. So I'm sure it's going to be Rue Lynch or something of that nature. I don't know if it'd be Rue Rollins, but either way, I'm sure.
Relentless. No.
Yeah, that was announced today. So definitely want to give them a congratulations on their healthy baby. And hopefully we'll get to see them some photos of the baby soon.
And hopefully the Mysterio family watches their back.
Exactly. So, but everything should be good.
Well, again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Catch us next week at 7 p.m. Same thing, Slam Nation. We'll be taking a look at Armageddon from 2003, emanating live from Orlando, Florida. Again, Lord Cash and I were there live and in person. Let's see how much we remember.
There you go.
Again, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you later. Contest. You get the contest.